Hello dear students, my name is Rahul Chugh and I welcome you all to my YouTube channel Farmaverse. Today we will going to see some important objective questions from the topic semi-solid dosage forms. So without wasting any further time, let's get started. So moving on to the very first question of our today's session that says these ointments are used to relieve itching and are commonly used drugs in them are benzocaine and coal tar. So we have to identify that out of the given four options कि किसके रिस्पेक्ट में यहाँ पे बात हो रही है. ऑप्शन दिए गए हैं एंटी एक्जिमेटिस ऑइंटमेंट्स, एंटी प्यूरेटिक ऑइंटमेंट्स या क्रेटोलिटिक ऑइंटमेंट्स या काउंटर इरिटेंट ऑइंटमेंट्स. So जो एंटी प्यूरेटिक basically refers to the agents that helps in relieving the itching, and the benzocaine which will going to act as a local anesthetic, and a coal tar that are used in skin conditions are typical ingredients in these. So we can say option B, that is antipruritic ointments are the correct answer for this question. Moving on to the next question, which of one of these paraffin waxes is used in eye ointments? ऑप्शन दिए गए हैं व्हाइट सॉफ्ट पैराफिन, येलो सॉफ्ट पैराफिन, हार्ड पैराफिन या नन ऑफ दीज. सो जो व्हाइट सॉफ्ट पैराफिन होती है दीज आर प्यूरिफाइड एंड नॉन इरिटेटिंग, मेकिंग इट सुटेबल फॉर सेंसिटिव एप्लीकेशंस लाइक ऑप्थेल्मिक ऑइंटमेंट्स. So we can say option A, that is white soft paraffin are the paraffin that are used in eye ointments. Moving on to the next question, which type of base is required for the antibiotic ointments? Options are PEG base, that stands for polyethylene glycol base, absorption base, hydrocarbon base या none of these. So जो absorption bases होते हैं that is lelionin can incorporate aqueous solutions like antibiotic and enhances their drug delivery through the skin. So we can say option B, that is absorption bases is the correct answer for this question. So moving on to the next question, beeswax is an example of which type of ointment base? And the options are hydrocarbon base, absorption base, water miscible base या water soluble base. So beeswax is an oleaginous, that is hydrocarbon based material that is used to provide consistency, and it helps to form a protective barrier. So we can say option A, that is hydrocarbon is the correct answer for this question. Moving on to the next question, pastes differ from ointment by containing, options are zinc oxide, paraffin, finely powdered particles या preservatives. So जो pastes होती हैं that are thicker as compared to the ointments due to the higher content, that is more than 20% of insoluble solids like starch or zinc oxide. So we can say option C, that is finely powdered particles is the main reason which makes pastes differ from ointments. So moving on to the next question, which is an example of absorption base? नीचे दिए गए चार ऑप्शंस में से absorption base का एग्जांपल कौन सा है? ऑप्शंस आर मैक्रोगॉल, कोकोनट ऑयल, PEG that stands for polyethylene glycol या wool fat. So जो wool fat है that is also called as lanolin is a characteristic of absorption basis, and it can absorb water and emulsify both oily and aqueous phases. So we can say option D, that is wool fat is an example of an absorption base. Moving on to the next question, which of the following is an example of an ointment made by chemical reaction? नीचे दिए गए चार ऑप्शंस में से ऐसा कौन सा एग्जाम्पल है ऑइंटमेंट का जिसे केमिकल रिएक्शन द्वारा बनाया गया है? ऑप्शंस आर एमोनिएटेड मर्करी ऑइंटमेंट, कैलामीन ऑइंटमेंट, सैलिसिलिक एसिड ऑइंटमेंट या आयोडीन ऑइंटमेंट. सो जो एमोनिएटेड मर्करी ऑइंटमेंट है इट इज प्रिपेयर्ड वाया केमिकल रिएक्शन विच इन्वॉल्व्स अ मर्करी कंपाउंड एंड अमोनिया which forms a white ointment. So we can say option A, that is ammoniated mercury ointment is a type of ointment among the four given options which has been made by the chemical reactions. Moving on to the next question, liquid paraffin is of, options are animal origin, mineral origin, synthetic origin या semi-synthetic origin. So जो liquid paraffin है is basically derived from petroleum, hence it is a mineral based, not animal, synthetic or semi-synthetic. So we can say option B, that is mineral origin is the correct answer for this question. Moving on to the next question, the base used to stiffen the ointment is, options are hard paraffin, wool fat, macrogol या wool alcohol. So जो hard paraffin होता है that basically used to increase the firmness, melting point and the structural integrity of the ointment. So we can say option A, that is hard paraffin is the base that is used to stiffen the ointments. So moving on to the next question. Methyl paraben or propyl paraben may be used in the preparation of ointment as मतलब कि जो मिथाइल पैराबेन है और प्रोपाइल पैराबेन है उनको ऑइंटमेंट्स की प्रिपरेशन में किस तौर पे इस्तेमाल किया जाता है, किसके तौर पे इस्तेमाल किया जाता है। ऑप्शंस दिए गए हैं अ प्रिजर्वेटिव, एन इमल्सिफायर, अ ह्यूमेक्टेंट या अ चिलेटिंग एजेंट। सो these parabens, that is methyl paraben or propyl paraben, inhibits the microbial growth and are widely used as a preservatives in semi-solid formulations. So we can say option A, that is a preservative, is the correct answer for this question. Moving on to the next question, which is an example of a water soluble base? मतलब कि नीचे दिए गए चार ऑप्शंस में से वाटर सोल्यूबल बेस का कौन सा एग्जांपल है। ऑप्शंस आर कोकोनट ऑयल, पेट्रोलेटम, वूल फैट या पीईजी। पीईजी स्टैंड फॉर पॉलीइथाइलिन ग्लाइकोल। सो जो पॉलीइथाइलिन ग्लाइकोल है बेसिकली वाटर सोल्यूबल which makes it ideal for water washable non greasy ointments and used for systemic drug delivery. So we can say option D, that is PEG, means polyethylene glycol, is an example of a water soluble base. So moving on to the next question, the fusion method is used for the preparation of fusion method को किसकी प्रिपरेशन के लिए यूज किया जाता है। ऑप्शंस दिए गए हैं ointments, emulsions, suspension या aerosol. So in the fusion method, the ointments ingredients are melted, then mixed and then cooled, especially useful for incorporating waxes in solids. So we can say the fusion method is used for the preparation of option A, that is ointments. So moving on to the next question, along with the benzoic acid, Whitfield ointment contains, and the options are 6% salicylic acid, 2% salicylic acid, 3% salicylic acid या 4% salicylic acid. So जो Whitfield ointment होती है that basically contains 6% benzoic acid and 3% salicylic acid. This concentration you have to remember, and it is used as an antifungal and a keratolytic agent. So we can say option C, that is 3% salicylic acid along with 6% benzoic acid is a composition of Whitfield ointments. So moving on to the next question, lanolin is, options are beeswax, wool fat, paraffin wax या borax. So lanolin is a purified wool fat which is derived from sheep sebaceous gland, which is often used in ointments as an emollient and absorption base. So we can say option B, that is wool fat, is the correct answer for this question. Moving on to the next question, the ointment base of mineral origin is, and the options are olive oil, cotton seed oil, castor oil या paraffin wax. So paraffin wax is basically a hydrocarbon base of mineral origin which is derived from petroleum. So we can say option D, that is paraffin wax, is a mineral origin based ointment base. So moving on to the next question, to dilute at 0.25% steroidal cream to 0.1% vanishing cream base, the suitable bases, options are hydrophilic ointment, Vaseline, lanolin या cold cream. So hydrophilic ointment is miscible with vanishing cream and water based preparations which makes it ideal for the dilution of the face preparation. So we can say option A, that is hydrophilic ointment is used or is preferred as a suitable base to dilute a 0.25% steroidal cream to 0.1% in a vanishing cream base. So moving on to the next question, an example of a neutral mixture is, like out of the given four options we have to tell, इन चारों में से neutral mixture का कौन सा example है, and the options are ointments, suspensions, emulsions या none of these. So ointments are considered to be neutral mixtures without significant ionization. So we can say option A, that is ointments are the example of neutral mixture. Moving on to the next question, in a non-staining iodine ointment, which ingredient binds with iodine? And the options are arachis oil, yellow soft paraffin, methyl salicylicate, yeah, none of these. So peanut, that is arachis oil, basically binds with iodine to prevent the staining in the ointment. So we can say option A, that is arachis oil, is the correct answer for this question. Moving on to the next question, ointments intended to deliver a systematic effect through skin are, and the options are epidermic ointment, endodermic ointment, diadermic ointment या केराटोलिटिक ऑइंटमेंट. सो जो diadermic ointments होती हैं that penetrates deeper and releases drugs into the systemic circulation via transdermal absorption. So we can say option C, that is diadermic ointment, is the correct answer for this question. Moving on to the next question. Dimethicone is also known as, and the options are titanium dioxide, calamine, zinc stearate, या silicon oil. So dimethicone is basically a form of silicon oil that is used as a skin protectant and an anti-foaming agent in a pharmaceutical and cosmetic formulations. So we can say option D, that is silicon oil, is the correct answer for this question. Means dimethicone is also known as silicon oil. So moving on to the next question. Kerosene is, and the options are synchrovaxis, ozycorite and paraffin wax, synchrovaxis and ozycorite, या ozycorite only. So जो हमारा kerosene होता है, it is a purified form of ozycorite, which is a naturally occurring mineral wax that is used in topical preparations. So we can say kerosene is option D, that is ozycorite only. Moving on to the next question. Dimethyl sulfoxide enhances the penetration by, we have to tell that dimethyl sulfoxide किस मेथड से पेनिट्रेशन को इनहेंस करता है. ऑप्शंस दिए गए हैं इंक्रीज सॉल्युबिलिटी, डीनेचरिंग प्रोटीन्स, इंक्रीजिंग ट्रांस एपिडर्मल परमिबिलिटी, या altering the solvent nature of the membrane. So dimethyl sulfoxide, also known as DMSO, changes the membrane characteristics, increasing the drug permeability through the skin. So we can say dimethyl sulfoxide enhances the penetration by altering the solvent nature of the membrane. That is option D is the correct answer for this question. Moving on to the next question. Imbition is used for, options are size reduction of substance, moistening of substance, size separation of substance, या packaging of substance. So imbibition refers to the absorption of liquids by solids, typically used to prepare powders before mixing into semi-solid bases. So we can say imbibition is particularly used for moistening of the substances. That is option B is the correct answer for this question. Moving on to the next question. Lanolin is used as, lanolin को किस तौर पे यूज किया जाता है. ऑप्शंस दिए गए हैं एमोलिएंट, कलरिंग एजेंट, विस्कोसिटी कंट्रोलर, या प्रिजर्वेटिव. सो lanolin soothes and softening the skin, which makes it an ideal emollient in ointments and creams. So we can say lanolin is used as an emollient. That is option A is the correct answer for this question. Moving on to the next question. Which of the following is true about hard paraffin? So we have to tell out of the given four options which is the correct statement with respect to the hard paraffin. And the options are, it consists of a mixture of liquids hydrocarbons obtained from petroleum by distillation. It may contain small traces of bleaching agent which are generally left over after bleaching. It is a purified mixture of solid hydrocarbons obtained from petroleum. Yeah, it is a purified mixture of semi-solid hydrocarbon obtained from petroleum. So hard paraffin is basically a purified mixture of solid hydrocarbon that is derived from petroleum used to stiffen ointments. Hard paraffin is a solid at room temperature and its melting point is considered to be around 50 to 60 degrees Celsius. So we can say option C, that states that it is a mixture of solid hydrocarbon obtained from petroleum, is a correct statement with respect to the hard paraffin. So moving on to the next question. In the preparation of cold creams, the bases generally used are, and the options are oil in water type base, hydrocarbon base, water in oil type base, yeah, none of these. So in the preparation of cold creams are typically water in oil emulsions where the oil base is considered to be likely beeswax that act as a continuous phase. So we can say option C, that is water in oil type bases, is considered to be the right answer for this question. Moving on to the next question. Creams are, and the options are emulsions, suspensions, ointments, या pastes. Creams are basically semi-solid emulsions, that is it can be either in oil in water, that can be example of vanishing cream, or water in oil, that can be an example of cold cream. So we can say creams are option A, that is emulsions. So moving on to the next question. In the preparation of vanishing creams, which types of bases are generally used? And the options are absorption bases, water removable bases, hydrocarbon bases, या none of these. So जो vanishing creams होती हैं that uses water removable bases, that is oil and water emulsions, which allows them to spread easily and leave little residue. So we can say option B, that is water removal bases are basically or typically used when we are preparing for vanishing cream. Moving on to the next question. Vanishing creams and cold creams are example of. Options are oil in water and water in oil emulsions, water in oil and oil in water emulsions, multiple and oil in water emulsions, या multiple and micro emulsions. So जो vanishing creams होती हैं they are considered to be oil in water emulsions, while जो cold creams होती हैं that are considered to be water in oil emulsions. So we can say option A, that states oil in water and water in oil emulsion respectively is the correct answer for this question. Moving on to the next question. In pastes, the concentration of insoluble powder substances is options are 50 to 100%, 20 to 50%, 50 to 75%, या none of these. So जो pastes होते हैं that typically contain 20 to 50% of insoluble solids, which gives them high viscosity and low spreadability. That is a desirable characteristics of paste. So we can say option B, that is 20 to 50% is the concentration of insoluble powder substances in pastes. So moving on to the next question. Semi-solid dosage forms with a high percentage of insoluble solid medicaments are. So we have to tell out of the given four options इनमें से कौन सी ऐसी semi-solid dosage form है with a high percentage of insoluble solid medicaments. Options are creams, pastes, gels या jellies. So जो pastes होती हैं they have a high concentration of insoluble solids compared to the other semi-solids forms like creams or gels. So we can say option B, that is pastes are considered to be a semi-solid dosage form with a high percentage of insoluble solid medicaments. Moving on to the next question. Generally, pastes contain options are high percentage of insoluble solids, low percentage of insoluble solids, both high and low percentages of insoluble solids, yeah, none of these. So the defining feature of pastes is considered to be high solid content that usually is around 20 to 50%, which makes them dense and stiff. That is option A, that is high percentage of insoluble solids are generally considered to be the defining feature of pastes. So moving on to the next question. A transparent or a translucent semi-solid preparation that is used for external uses. Options are pastes, creams, lotions या jellies. So जो हमारी jellies होती हैं these are basically clear or translucent semi-solid gels that are basically water based and it is suitable for topical use as well as for a soothing application. So we can say option D, that is jellies are a transparent or translucent semi-solid preparations for external use. Moving on to the next question. Zero gel refers to options are hydrogel, dehydrated gel, gel containing organic solvent, या excess water in gel. So a zero gel is a gel that forms by which the liquid component that has been removed completely by using a method called as drying, which leads to the formation of a dry and a porous structure. So we can say option B, that is a dehydrated gel is the correct answer for this question. Moving on to the next question. Poltees is also known as, options are draught, cataplasm, antipruritic, या base. So a poultice or a cataplasm is a soft, moist mass applied to the skin to relieve inflammation and improve healing. So we can say option B is the correct answer for this question. So moving on to the next question, a typical skin cream with a composition of stearic acid, potassium hydroxide, glycerin, water, preservative, and perfume is. Options are cold cream, vanishing cream, foundation cream, yeah, all-purpose cream. So these ingredients that have been mentioned in the question, that is stearic acid, potassium hydroxide, glycerin, water, preservative, and perfume, basically are the composition of a vanishing cream. And a vanishing cream is an oil and water emulsion that disappears upon application due to water evaporation. So we can say option B, that is vanishing cream, is the correct answer for this question. Moving on to the last and the final question of our today's session, and that is Whitfield's ointment is prepared by using which of the following methods? Options are fusion method, fracturation method, chemical reaction method, या all of these. So जो Whitfield ointment method है, या sorry जो Whitfield ointment है, which basically contains benzoic acid and salicylic acid, is commonly prepared by using the fusion method. So we can say option A, that is fusion method is used for the preparation of Whitfield ointment. So that's it for the today's session on the topic semi-solid dosage form. I hope that these MCQs will going to help you to sharpen your preparation. And if you like the video, then don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more pharmacy insights. Thank you.